welcome, welcome. Let's do a quick show of hands just so I know who I'm talking to here. Who here currently runs their own business? Show of hands. Oh, most of you. Wow. Okay, good. Who here wants to go and run their own business? One, two, kind of three, maybe? Okay, good. We got a handful. Good, good, good. Okay, now here's the kicker. How many of you feel 100% confident that you know what you're doing in running your business? Oh, a handful. Okay, good. Maybe you can teach me something. That'd be awesome. Okay, so today we are going to talk about Solopreneurship 101. I feel like there is kind of a disconnect here, and that is, did anybody take business classes? When you were in college, okay, still a handful, but not everybody. I don't know about you, but when I went to school to study my craft, okay? I went to school to study journalism, got an emphasis in advertising, BS degree, funny how they call it BS, degree, yes. But nobody told me to take business classes, and they weren't required, and for many of us, we never thought that we would ever need them. And then lo and behold, here we are out on our own, either by choice or by default, whether you leave your job on your own accord or you get let go. But you get out on your own and you know your craft and you know it really well. However, do you know how to run a business? So there is a disconnect there. But today that all ends. Hi, I'm Julie Cortez, copywriter by day, freelance rock star by night. I live, breathe, teach, speak, and coach on all things freelancing or solopreneurship, things for the self-employed. I have run my own freelance copywriting business for almost 25 years. This is when you tell me, but Julie, you don't look a day over 29. And I'm like, thank you, right? So what that means as a copywriter is I work in advertising and marketing. I write copy, I write text for advertising and marketing materials, all right? I write websites, I write brochures, TV commercials, video scripts, websites, you name it. If it's in the marketing, advertising realm, I've probably had my hands on it at some point in time. I've worked with large ad agencies, design shops, small businesses, mom and pop shops, startups, nonprofits, kind of the whole gamut doing this business. So I have made my fair share of mistakes over the years, and I'm here to share those with you so you can find success much sooner than I did. What I'm probably best known for is being the founder of the Freelance Exchange of Kansas City. Who here's heard of the Freelance Exchange? Good handful. Okay, for those who don't know what it is, this is a not-for-profit professional trade organization specifically for those who are self-employed in advertising and marketing. We are coming up on our 20-year anniversary come January. We offer continuing education, mentorship, promotional opportunities, social opportunities, what have you, for those who are self-employed in advertising and marketing. Conversely, because we have this beautiful collective of talent, we've become the city's go-to resource for area companies and ad agencies to find the talent that they need. We have graphic designers, copywriters, photographers, illustrators, social media pros, PR pros, even like non-creative types, right? Web developers, production managers, you name it, okay? They're all part of the Freelance Exchange of Kansas City. We'll talk a little bit more about that later on, but that's been my baby and still running that here to this day. So as I'm going throughout my career, I'm noticing that there is this huge void for the self-employed. Tell me if you've seen this or felt this as well. There's a void in continuing education, there's a void in community, and there's even a void in respect for the self-employed, right? Where is that coming from? Well, apparently I've made it my life's personal mission to rectify that, all right? So in addition to starting the Freelance Exchange of Kansas City, I also developed my own course called Freelancing 101, in which I now teach as an adjunct professor at the Kansas City Art Institute. I've been doing that about 6 or 7 years now, teaching both fine artists and commercial artists, getting into their young brains and helping them learn how to run a business, again, so they can find success much sooner than I did. Who here wishes they had that class when they were in college, right? Totally. Well, so a funny thing happens when you are teaching a class at a school, and like so many of my professional peers were coming up to me and they're like, Julie, I'd love to take your class, or I'd love to sit in on your class. Okay, that's fine, but there's no room, right? It's a small classroom. You got to pay, you got to enroll, and you got to go back to school, and not many people at this stage want to do that. So it was like, okay, Cortez, light bulb moment. Why don't you open up a coaching arm to your business and offer these same lessons to your professional peers? So I've been doing that now for a handful of years, and I have actually a few of my coaching clients in the audience here today, so that's fun. And then, of course, I've become a public speaker as well, speaking on stages near and far, local to international, and people actually pay me to run my mouth, and it's a beautiful thing. So long story short, I am absolutely nowhere where I thought I would be in school, but I am 110% everywhere where I'm supposed to be. And I want to help you find that solopreneur success as well today. Sound good? Awesome. Okay, let's get into it. So speaking of the word solopreneur, what's in the name? You may have heard 101 different terms for being self-employed, whether it's freelancer, whether it's indie creative, or one of my favorites is creative mercenary, self-employed contractor, consultant, whatever you call it. For the sake of today's presentation, all right, let's just all agree it is what it is, okay? We all have similar challenges and opportunities. We all experience the same pros and cons of being self-employed, okay? The pros, of course, being, hello, you're your own boss. You get to set your own schedule, right? You get to work from where you want, wearing what you want, doing what you want, with whom you want, on what you want, and the list goes on and on and on. And that's amazing. Peace, yes. Peace out. Awesome. Okay, so for the sake of today's presentation, it is what it is. If I happen to sling out the word freelancer, for example, please know I just mean solopreneur, okay, for the sake of today's presentation. You may have additional terms that you have heard as well. Please let me know, and I'll add it to my list for next time. All right? But let's get started. Let's take a look at where we were leading up to today, okay? So we used to say the future is freelance. And people like me were super excited about that, all right? We were looking at the statistics, and when I gave a similar presentation at Global Entrepreneurship Week in 2019, before the pandemic, we were looking at 30% of the United States workforce was already self-employed in some capacity, full-time or part-time, okay? By 2020, we were expected to hit 40%. By 2027, we were supposed to hit 50% of the US workforce was supposed to be self-employed somehow, somewhere. Not just graphic designers, but also Uber drivers and hairstylists, what have you, full-time, part-time, whatever the case may be. We were already on this really steep upward trajectory, and then COVID hit, right? So it's not anymore that the future is freelance. It is the future is here and now. In my personal, humble opinion, we are going to hit that 50% rate much sooner than 2027, if not here in the next few years, okay? And why is that? So many people got used to the pandemic. So many people got used to working from home, and they loved enjoying the benefits of what that brings to them. Right? Flexibility in their schedule, getting to do what they want to do, when they want to do. They get to go pick up their kids from school. If a kid is sick, they're already home. Okay? Lots of benefits to working from home, lots of benefits to having your own flexible schedule. Also, at the beginning of the pandemic, a lot of people lost their jobs, unfortunately. Or a lot of people had cut income. And so they had to start their own businesses, whether out of necessity or because they wanted to, but here they were, and they're like, okay, again, I don't know what I'm doing, but I do want to run my own business, okay? All of these things are happening, and now we're seeing with the workforce, there's different things going on. You probably have heard the terms the Great Resignation, right? People leaving in droves. You've probably heard quiet quitting, or maybe it's not so quiet, right? And I'm sure we're going to hear more terms as these things go along. But long story short, it's not anymore that the future is freelancing or self-employed. The future is now. We are seeing that trajectory hitting now, okay? So you all are primed and getting ready to get there and to find success by being here today. So good job being here. However, again, here comes that problem again. We know our craft and we know it well, but what do you do if you've never been trained on how to run a business? All right, we're going to talk about that today. So what's on tap today is we are going to go through the three mainstays of running a solopreneur business. The three biggest questions that I normally get when I'm coaching or teaching or speaking, having to do with how do I price my services, how do I find a steady stream of income, and how do I brand and promote myself so I can get that steady stream of income, all right? All right, so let's get started here. First on the docket is to get paid what you're worth. Anybody wondering how to do that? What's the magic answer for being able to charge what you're worth? How do you price your services, right? That is the big burning question. I get asked that all the time. I hate to break it to you, but I don't know. I don't know. And let me explain why. There is a method to my madness here, okay? But part of it is because there are so many variables that come into play. You can't just sit there and tell me, Julie, I'm a graphic designer, what do I charge? Meh. You got to give me more information. I want to know who you are, what you do, how long you've been doing it, how good you are at doing it. Do you have any additional education or certificates to add to your name, right? Are you in demand? Are you winning awards? Is your phone ringing off the hook or not? All of these things come into play when trying to determine your price and being able to charge what you're worth, okay? So you can go online and you can find these worksheets that are out there that look at your cost of doing business, that look at your cost of living, and it's a great place to start. You can go online and you can find salary calculators or hourly rate calculators, and again, it's a great place to start. However, the problem is when you're looking at those things, what they don't consider, either of those, the worksheets or the calculators, they don't consider all of the variables that I just talked about. They don't consider how many years experience you have. They don't consider how good you are in your business. They don't even consider necessarily your cost of living, right? And then if you go in, maybe I'm going to use graphic designer as an example because that's just top of mind here. But if you go online and say, well, what's the going rate for a graphic designer in the United States? Well, guess what? You're being compared now to graphic designers on either coast in New York City, San Francisco, Seattle, where their cost of living is probably, 10 times as much as it is here? We can't command those rates here. So you really have to take everything into consideration and determine your own rate. My best piece of advice for doing this is to find a mentor. Find somebody in your shoes who does what you do, who perhaps has been doing it a little bit longer. Somebody who would be willing to share their price with you, what they charged when they were in your shoes. All right? Start asking around. Maybe you have friendly competition who would be willing to share with you what they are charging. To me, we're not competing with anybody else other than ourselves, quite honestly. All right? Because we all bring different styles to the table. So keep that in mind. Once you figure out a price and you start pushing out estimates and proposals, then figure out if you're getting any pushback. If you're getting pushback all the time, guess what? You're probably charging too much. Conversely, if you're not getting pushback at all at any time, you're probably not charging enough. I would say a good middle ground here would be somewhere between 10 and 25% of the time to get pushback. Okay? That's when you know you're in a good spot. Okay. So, moving on and how to get paid what you're worth, you got to remember that your work has value. And you need to be able to charge your worth. Not doing so has an impact not only on your finances, but also on your work-life balance, as well as even your self-worth. So we've got to keep that all in mind. It is a vicious cycle going round and round and round, right? It's a very limiting and frustrating barrier. I understand that. And at the end of the day, we got to understand that, yes, we have to be respectful of our client's budget, but you don't want to sell yourself short either, okay? So you've got to get to a point where you can communicate that value, you can demonstrate that value to your clients, so you can be comfortable in talking with them about money and about fees and understanding that it's nothing personal, it's just business, okay? Your work has value. It is not about the time that you sit there and actually do the work. Get that out of your head. It is not about the time. It is about all of these things listed above. The value that you bring to the customer, your skills, your talent level, your experience, how you compare to your competitors, what makes you unique, different, better than them, how you can solve their problem, your client's problem, what kind of results you can garner, how can you make their lives easier or their business more profitable. There are so many things that come into play here. Let me give you an example. Take, for instance, I'm going back to the graphic designer. That's my wheelhouse. Going back to the graphic designer example, somebody wants to do a logo. That logo, the usage value of that is so much more than any one-off piece, such as a postcard, for example. That logo is going to be used on every single piece, branding and marketing piece, from this day forward. A logo can make or break a business. All right? So the value is so much more. Take Nike, for example, right? Y'all know the Nike swoosh, that logo. The graphic designer, the freelance graphic designer who did that many, many moons ago only charged the bare minimum. I don't remember the specifics, but it was something like $125. Oh my gosh, now look at Nike, they're huge. Doesn't that person deserve more credit, right? So you've got to understand the value of what it is that you're creating and offering for your clients, whether you offer a service or a product. Now, I understand if you're offering services, it's a little bit more difficult because you don't have a tangible material piece, but you still have to be able to demonstrate that value and convey that to the customer. Why should they choose you over your competition? All right? If you've got the value and you can prove that, then they're more apt to understand that and go with you and accept your prices. If you charge hourly, which I know a lot of service providers do, people tend to think, okay, you're charging hourly, but so is your competition. But if you can get it done in less time, that means I should get a cheaper price for it. When most of us know that those of us on the senior end of things probably have many, many years experience doing this, and we can get it done much sooner than our younger, fresher contemporaries, right? We really can. So yes, I might be able to, I'm not a graphic designer, but I might be able to whip out a graphic or a logo in, let's say, 20 hours. There's a lot of research that goes into it. It's not just drawing a pretty picture, right? Okay, let's say it's 20 hours. Okay, but my younger, fresher counterpart does it in 30 hours. All right, why should I be punished for something that I have the skills and the expertise and the years that have brought me to this point where I can get it done much quicker? Why should I be punished for that, right? It's not about time. It's about the value. So you've got to remember that when charging your prices. A little bit of tough love coming up for you. If you don't respect your worth, how do you expect your customers to? I mean, it is what it is. There's a little bit of fake it till you make it that comes into play here, because if you're not comfortable talking prices with your customers, with your clients, then they're not going to be comfortable either. I will tell you, the more that you do it, the easier it gets, which is great, okay? So how do you get to that point where you feel comfortable? Well, you've got to do a little bit of homework. You've got to research, right? Study your competition. Figure out where you are pricing-wise. Are you above them? Are you able to show that to your customers, to your clients, why they should choose you? Are you able to show them that they're coming to the right place by choosing you? If you're below them, what is that going to tell them? If they're comparing apples to oranges, you against your competition, right, and you're coming in much less than your competitors, what does it show them? That you're probably not as good, right? So you want to understand your value here. Now, of course, there are exceptions to every rule. You might discount your prices for certain situations, such as if you're working with a non-for-profit, right, for a charity. Maybe you give a friends and family discount. Maybe you do a discount for on-site guaranteed work, depending on what it is that you do, right? You may come up with all of these different ideas, and that's totally fine for something to consider. Just be sure not to discount too much because your work still has value. Never give away anything for free, okay? There is something to be said for the value that we all provide in whatever industry that you're in. All right, so here's the deal, okay? Here's the key. You only want to work with people who appreciate your value, people who understand what you bring to the table, all right? I understand it's going to be hard to do this because you're going to have to turn down some prospective clients or prospective customers. I get that. And especially when you're first starting out or if you're struggling to make ends meet, it's going to be hard to do. But once you start understanding that those people who are only price conscious are probably the most difficult people to work with, then it's going to be much easier to get over that barrier. Okay, you only worry about price. Okay, let me show you where Fiverr is, Upwork is, right? If you want somebody who's going to bring you great value, I'm the person for you. So you want to target those who will value you, those who will pay you what you're worth. And once they understand that, again, then they're going to be more apt to come to you and to use you for your services. I know I'm talking really fast here, so let's take a quick break real quick, and let me ask who has questions in the audience about pricing your services, getting what you're worth. Yes, Burton.
So how did you get the confidence to start having the money conversation as far as talking pricing?
Great question. So I really immersed myself in, I really immersed myself in continuing education, and I found a great mentor online who gives this amazing presentation about having the money conversation, and I've respected this woman. It's Elise Bennon, if anybody's heard of her. She's the marketing mentor, and she has this great shtick about having the money conversation and helping you get over that hurdle. So surrounding yourself with smart people is always helpful, for sure. For sure. Yeah, right here.
Pricing, just starting from a base, is it helpful to have like some sort of formula for yourself so that, like I've gotten into situations where maybe I'm with a client and I know I could get more money out of, but it doesn't seem right to just charge more money because I know I can get more out of them than like somebody who wouldn't be able to afford it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, is it helpful to have some sort of formula, some sort of set thing that you don't really deviate from for every single person, like consistency? I guess, I don't know if you can pull what I'm trying to ask at that. Like,
I think so.
Yeah, like, where do you start?
Right. So I have a graphic design coaching client who actually does different pricing for different kinds of clients. The bigger, larger corporations, she'll charge her top tier price. But if it's like a mom and pop shop, she gives them a cheaper price, which I think is really nice. My biggest trick here is to always ask the client what their budget is. And again, that's hard to ask if you're just starting out. But again, you got to get comfortable with that. They're going to have some idea in mind of what the budget is. Okay, and if they don't, and they very well may come back and say, oh, I don't even know what something like this might cost. You tell me. You know, I get it. I understand. But you can say, okay, are we talking $500, $5,000, $50,000? Like you continue to add on zeros and tell you what, they're going to have an idea of where you're going to be. I tried this trick with one of my clients who's a graphic design studio, because they kept telling me, Julie, you're too cheap, you're too fast. And it's like, okay, sorry, I'm saving you money. So now I ask them, what's your budget? And oftentimes they have allocated in their budget much more than what I would have charged. And so that tells me, okay, great, now I can charge more, right? I'm still going to come in underneath budget because I want to be the hero, but now I can charge more because I asked that question. Now I know how much they value me and the services that I offer. Mm-hmm.
And so you always just put it back on the
Yep.
50, 500.
Start adding zeros.
Okay.
They're going to have an idea in mind. And then you can always go back to them with your estimate or your proposal, and just say, okay, with that in mind, here's what I can offer. And you can do bundled packages, you could price things out a la carte, you can give one big price, whatever it is, and tell them, here's what I can offer for the budget that you're showing here. Okay? You're welcome. Okay, yes, that's it.
I love the concept of working with clients with respect to your work.
Mm-hmm.
One of the tips that was passed on to me many years ago by my mentor was not a fit. And I like using that term, and I have used that term in direct communication with potential, because you say we're not a fit. It doesn't necessarily put that on them
Right.
or on me. Like, we are just not a fit, and it's
Right.
okay for a customer to not be a fit.
100%. That's an excellent point. You're not going to be right for everybody, and everybody's not going to be right for you either. Yeah, excellent point. And I think that's a nice way to put it. That, this just isn't a good fit, And if you can offer a referral, even better, right? Maybe they can go somewhere else. Awesome. Okay, so let's keep moving here. Let's get on to finding a steady income. All right, because that is the goal of everybody, I'm sure. Hang on. My slide here, I got two different things here. Okay, so finding a steady stream of income is the goal for any solopreneur, right? We're in this scenario where, as our own bosses, we don't necessarily have a guaranteed paycheck coming in the door, right? Every 2 weeks, every month, and it's a little scary. And we go through this thing called a feast or famine income cycle, or episodic income, or you might even have, these cash flow fluctuations. Think of it like a roller coaster, right? Sometimes you're really doing really well and getting a lot of money, and sometimes you're not. Okay, so you've got to figure out a way to even things out so you're not sweating bullets when the time comes. Okay, in order to be successful financially, you've really got to think outside the box. And I wish somebody had told me this early on, because y'all, this is the secret sauce to getting ahead. Okay? This is the secret sauce. That steady stream of income may not just come from your graphic design business, your writing business, your computer business, whatever it is that you do. Okay? Find different avenues for your income. For example, you really want to diversify your income. Okay? What does that mean? Getting income from more than just your mainstay. What else can you do with the skills that you have to create a product or a service to get more money in the door? For example, I know some photographers who really want to get into commercial photography, and that's all they want to do is commercial photography. But as they're building their business, they just don't have enough right now to keep them afloat. So they also add in portrait photography and wedding photography to help pay the bills in the meantime, because photography is photography. They can do that. Look at what I'm doing. I'm not just a copywriter, I'm also a teacher, speaker, and coach, right? I hope to write a book someday and offer products on my website. You too can do that to find ways to diversify your income. You could sell in online shops. I know many people who design or paint or illustrate, and they put their images on products on Etsy or Patreon, right? And sell bags and beanies and hats and whatever, decals. You can do that too. There's so many things you can do. And the other side of this too is if you're just starting out as a solopreneur, it's gonna take time to get steady. All right, so there is no shame in taking a part-time job or a contract gig while you're getting started. If you can get a part-time job or contract gig in your industry with what you want to do or something similar, of course, that's great. But if not, don't discount other opportunities. You could go and work part-time and be a barista, a bartender, a server, because guess what? You're meeting people, and now all of a sudden you're networking. You are interacting with the very people who could potentially bring you business or refer you to somebody who could bring you business. So don't discount those roles. Do what you got to do in order to get ahead. All right? However, I give one caution, and that is to never put all your eggs in one basket. Just like with diversifying your income with different income streams, all right? Also think about the clients who you cater to. If you only have one client, what's going to happen if all of a sudden they go under? Let me give you an example. I knew a guy, a freelance graphic designer, who had a contract gig with Sprint. Remember Sprint before it was T-Mobile, right? Locally here. And he had this sweet gig rolling in the dough, 40 hours a week, day in and day out for, months, maybe even years on end. That was his one and only client. And as Sprint does, as we all know, Sprint did before they were T-Mobile, they eventually had massive layoffs, and he got cut. What do you think happened to him? He had nowhere to go. He had no other clients. He had no other work. So he had to hang up his hat and go find a full-time job. So I say be very, very careful with those contract gigs that offer you the moon without giving you an actual full-time job, because you might not always be there. So you want to prepare for that. Always, always be networking. Always be promoting yourself, even when you're super busy. Because you may be super busy right now, but are you going to be super busy in 6 months? Right? So don't tell me, I don't have time to do this. You got to find time. You got to make time. You have to stay top of mind for anybody and everybody who could potentially hire you or refer you. Don't discount your referral partners as well. So don't just think of today, but also plan for the future. All right? Okay, so part of this diversification of your income, something you can do is to create passive income. And there are so many different things you can do. What does passive income mean? It's essentially set it and forget it, right? Do work once and have it bring you income over and over and over again. That would be amazing, right? That would be so cool. And there's so many different options that you can do where you do the work up front and then there's little to no work later. I love you all are taking pictures. This is great. But think about what you can do, again, with the skills that you have to bring in additional income. Could you write a book? Is it a digital book, an ebook, or is it a physical hard copy book? Could you create an online course? Could you become an affiliate marketer selling third-party products? Could you create fonts, templates, checklists, how-to guides, what have you? Could you sell ads on your YouTube channel? Could you offer designs on products in an online store like I just talked about, like on Patreon or Etsy? And then, of course, I say this with the biggest disclaimer I can. I am not a financial planner. However, you could get into things such as stocks, bonds, CDs, even savings accounts, interest-bearing savings accounts. There are things that you could do to bring in income with the skills that you have. What ideas do you have? What am I missing up here? What should I add to the list? Real estate, yeah. Even like real estate investment too, yeah. Go ahead.
Live content creator, streamer.
Oh yeah, 100%. What else, Max?
Patreon, something like that, like a membership type of thing.
Yeah, that'd be great. What else? Art? Yeah, anything and everything that you can do. Think about it. Now, be careful when you start getting into these different ventures because you don't want them to take away your focus from your mainstay, okay? But when you might have some free time, maybe work is a little slow, start working on those things so you can build for the future, okay? You got to be able to charge what you're worth. You got to diversify your income. You've got to create passive income to get that steady stream of income so you're no longer experiencing this roller coaster that solopreneurship often brings. Okay, so let's get into the fun stuff. At least it's fun for me. This is my jam. I love branding and promotions. I'm the one who got the degree in advertising, right? So as a solopreneur, you've got to remember, even if you don't like to do it, you've got to put yourself out there. If you're not comfortable doing it yourself, outsource it to somebody who is. Because quite honestly, if people don't know who you are, or what you offer, how are they going to be able to buy from you or refer you to somebody else? You've got to put yourself out there to let people know what you do. You've got to stay top of mind so they remember what you do as well. Okay? Okay, Julie, that's all fine and good. How do I do that? All right, let's talk about branding first. All right, I know there's some designers in the room, so I'm going to ask you quiet when I ask this question. What if I were to ask you, what is your brand, or what is a brand? What might you tell me? Katie. First impressions. Did you have something? Yes, exactly. So a brand is how somebody feels about you, your work, your company, okay? Think about it as your image or your reputation, okay? Everything that goes into a brand helps improve your reputation, or it could kill your reputation. So think about the things that go in, both visually as well as from a copy standpoint. It is your logo. It is the name of your company. It's your tagline. It's your voice. It's your fonts. It's your colors. It's your theme. The list goes on and on. There are a lot of things that go into a brand. It is not just your logo. Okay, I want to make that very, very clear. And there's a lot of psychology that goes behind it too. But it's really cool. So your brand is how people feel about you when you are not around. How do you get there? Well, let's brand yourself first. When you are going to create a brand, first off, you are going to define your company. What is your mission? What is your goals? What are your offerings? You know, what features and benefits do you have? Do you offer the customer? What qualities do you want to have associated with you? You need to define yourself first. Then look at the competition. What do they do? What do they offer? How do you compare to them? What are they doing for their branding and their marketing? Again, there's psychology that goes into it. It's not just doodling a little picture for your logo. Then, of course, my favorite, you've got to determine and highlight your USP. Who knows what a USP is? Yes. Unique selling proposition. Kudos, the gal in the back. You may also hear it as unique selling points. Essentially what this is what makes you unique, different, better than your competition. Okay? When you try and figure this out, you really want to dive deep. I do this exercise with some of my clients, and I ask them, what's your USP? And they'll tell me, oh, we offer the best customer service. I'm like, okay, well, can't Joe Schmo down the street say the same thing? You don't want anything that anybody else can say. It has to be very particular to you. So there is some homework here. Okay, so I will push back on my customer and I'll say, okay, you've got the best customer service. What does that mean? And they'll give me a laundry list of things. Okay, yeah, Joe Schmo can say that too. And then they get to, well, wait, but we offer, we've got somebody answering our phones 24/7. What? That's amazing. Who does that? Does anybody in the region here who serves as your competition, do they offer 24/7 customer service? No. That's it. Ding, 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 ding. That's it. Dig deep and find something that nobody else can say. And it's one thing and one thing only is your USP. Not a litany of things. Great customer service. I'm very quick. I'm very good at what I do. No. One thing. I want you to focus on one thing and then highlight it in absolutely everything you do, from your branding to your promotions. Okay? Then, of course, you want to start to study your target audience. Who are they? What do they do? Right? What are their demographics and psychographics? Ooh, big terms. I know. Look them up. Psychology. It comes into play. But really, really helpful to get inside the mind of your customer. What is going to motivate them to buy? What's going to appeal to them? Okay? Really get inside their mind so you can start figuring out your brand. And then last but not least, of course, share your brand in everything you do. Okay, Julie, I've got my logo on my business card. I got my website. I've got my colors, blah, blah, blah. Okay, is that it? You can put your brand on so many different things, okay? Don't forget your signature in your email. You could put your brand there. What about your email address? If you have joeschmo@aol.com, guess what? You are not doing yourself any favors. If you can get the back end of your email address to match your website or your website to come, that would be amazing. Go ahead and purchase that domain, pretty cheap to reserve your spot, and get your email set up, joeschmo@whatever your company name is.com. That's going to help elevate the image of your brand. So start thinking outside the box. You might put your brand on a slide deck. You might exhibit at a trade show and have your brand on signage. Where else might you have your brand? I can't hear. Talk louder. There's traffic. On yourself. Yes. Think outside the box. Get creative with this. Now, I know I go above and beyond, and I put my branding everywhere, right? But I'll tell you what, people remember me, and they know that it's associated with my company. I don't do this just for fun. Well, it is for fun. I'm not going to lie. But it is also my brand colors. Oh, sorry, not sorry. Okay? But put your brand everywhere. Yes, on your laptop. You might even have like your logo on a decal on your laptop. Some people go so far to have a personalized license plate. Some people have a personalized license plate frame with their company on there. Or you could put a decal on your car. If you're going to some special event, maybe you don't want to be full out, right, in your brand colors, but maybe you have a tie, right, that's in your color, or a button or a pin or something. You may even get a custom name tag that has your logo on it, okay? Think outside the box. There are so many different ways that you can express your brand that will hopefully have people come back and remember you, and then, of course, buy from you or refer from you in the future, okay? All right, so once you have your brand established, you, of course, want to start promoting yourself. And there are so many options to do so, all right? You got to find what's right for you and find what resonates with your customer the most, your audience, your target audience. Let's talk about some of these options. Get out your phones, take pictures again. All right. So I am one of those people who highly, highly, highly recommends having a website or some sort of online presence. You just have to in today's day and age. If you don't have some sort of online presence, whether it's a website, portfolio site, an Etsy store, what have you, I have questions. And I'm starting to wonder if you are really a good business owner, if you're good at what you do, because it translates into that. Same thing goes for social media. I know social media is not for everybody. However, it's one of those evil necessities. You gotta be on there, or else people are gonna start wondering what's wrong with them, right? Again, if you don't like to do it, hire somebody who does, who can do it for you. And social media, you don't have to be on all the platforms, and doesn't it appear that we're getting new platforms each and every day, and one might be going away soon? I don't know, right? But things are changing all the time. You don't have to be everywhere. Nobody can manage that. That's way too much, especially as a solopreneur. So you want to find a handful of social media platforms that you enjoy and that your target audience is on, and that's where you want to make your playgrounds. But don't just post. You got to engage, right? I know, Jose, you're great at this. You're so good at engaging on so many different platforms, but it's so important. And I remember you, right? For sure. Okay? Video is huge right now, y'all. Where all can you put video? You can put it on your website. You can put it in social media. You can put it in an email. You can put it on TikTok, right? There are so many different things that you can do with video, and it is huge for conversion rates right now. Speaking of email, don't discount email. I know a lot of people are hesitant to do that. A lot of people are just like, website, social media, I'm done. No, you're not done. I will tell you that, yes, social media is free and easy to use. However, email marketing has a much higher conversion rate than social media does. Much higher. And why is that? Because every single person who's signed up for your email list wants to hear from you. Okay? When you're spewing out on social media, you're spewing out to who knows how many people and what they do, and even if they're your exact target audience. And that also is, you got to play with the algorithms. Not everybody's going to see your stuff. People are more likely to see your stuff in an email. Okay? So don't discount email. Email is king. So start building that list and start being in touch with your target audience or your existing clients as well. You could do traditional advertising, newspaper ads, magazine ads. Certainly you could do that. You could get into digital, such as banner ads or on other people's websites, ads in their emails. You can send out thank you cards. Awesome. Who does notes in the mail anymore? Very few people. Oh, yeah, I know. There's a couple of you here. Awesome. Direct mail, mailing something to somebody directly, right? A postcard, a letter, a mailer. Not very many people do direct mail anymore. Mine as well. That's one way to stand out because nobody else is doing it, right? PR is public relations. If you, let's say you win an award, you type up a press release and you send it to the media in hopes that they'll give you some coverage. What else is considered PR? Giving presentations, right? There's a lot of things that you can do when it comes to public relations. You can exhibit in trade shows. You can attend conferences, seminars. The next two items, networking and volunteering, I got to tell you, these are the two that built my business because it's all in who you know, right? People like to work with whom they know, like, and trust, and so you've got to become that person. So get out there, start shaking hands, getting some business cards, handing out your business card in return, learning how you can be a valuable resource partner to the community. Volunteering too. You may be rubbing elbows with other movers and shakers who, again, may not only be able to hire you, but also to refer you to other people. Additionally, people like to work with those who are philanthropic. It's one of those things like if you put out good energy into the universe is bound to give you good energy back. Okay? So I'm a huge proponent of networking and volunteering. Social proof is all of the things, testimonials, referrals, recommendations, all of those things that may come from other people that sing your praises that you can show in all of the other places, right? On email and social media, on your website, et cetera, et cetera. And then, of course, with the holidays coming up, I have to say holiday gifts, right? If you have existing customers or people who you are wanting to have as your clients, you could always send them a holiday gift or even a holiday card. It doesn't have to be extravagant, for sure. Okay, so beyond branding and promoting yourself, I know especially if you're first starting it out, it's hard to say, well, Julie, I don't have the money. And I'm here to tell you, you've got to invest in yourself. That old adage is true. Take it from somebody who made a lot of mistakes early on, right? But you have to spend money to make money. You really do. So if that means finding a part-time job, if that means diversifying your income or saving a third of your income so you can afford these things, then do it, because that's the way you're going to get ahead. You've got to budget for your branding and for your promotions. Because I say this with a caveat. Know your strengths and weaknesses. If you are not a designer or an illustrator or a photographer or a writer, for the love of all things purple, please don't do it yourself. All right? I cannot stress that enough, because if you have a bad brand or any sort of bad promotions, it's really going to reflect on you, right? It can make or break your business. So find a professional who can put your brand, your company in the best light possible, for sure. All right, Julie, that's all fine and good. How do I hire a professional? I got the answer for you right here. I would be remiss if I did not share my baby. So the Freelance Exchange of Kansas City offers a free and easy-to-use community resource for you to find talent, for you to find graphic designers and illustrators and photographers and all the people who I mentioned who can help you with your brand or with your promotions. Okay, we have 185 members right now that you can go through. All of their information is on our website. You can search our directory for free. We take our hands out of it. Okay, you can go and you can view their portfolio samples online. You can go to their website if they have that linked, read their bio. So easy to use. And again, it's a free service for the community. I would really encourage you, when you're looking for somebody to work with, find somebody whose style resonates with you, right? Not everybody has the same style. Somebody may be more edgy, more corporate, more whimsical, what have you. Find the style that resonates with you. How often do we see people on LinkedIn or on Facebook going, I need a logo done, or I need a graphic designer, who do you know, right? So often we see this, and either there's crickets, nobody answers, or there's 101 responses in return. And for the original poster, that's got to be so overwhelming. How do you choose the right person, right? Just because your best friend recommends somebody doesn't mean they're the right person for you. And you've got to keep that in mind. So do your homework. Go to their website, look at their portfolio samples. Also, look at their social media. Make sure that things are consistent across the board. If they call themselves a brand expert, they better damn well be a brand expert and exhibit that on everything that they do. All right? So look at all of that to be able to find the person for you. Again, it's a free service we offer. We don't take anything off the top. That's all for you. Conversely, if you are one of us, if you're self-employed in advertising and marketing and this is interesting to you, please check us out. I welcome you to come join us as a member and have your stuff on the website as well. Okay. I will say, as a solopreneur, you're not alone. There are plenty of resources out there, but you do have to invest time and energy into building up your business. And I encourage you to continue leveling up through reading books, taking courses, coming to things like this, hiring a business coach. So many resources are available at your beck and call, whether inexpensively or at no cost at all. Of course, the Freelance Exchange of Kansas City is a great resource. Kansas City SourceLink, who put on GEW, is a great resource. There's SCORE Mentors. There's the Small Business Administration. So many options out there. Surround yourself with smart people to elevate your brand, elevate your business, and be willing to invest in yourself. That's how you're going to get ahead. As a token of my appreciation for you being here today, I'd like to offer you a free gift from me to you. And there are 3 easy ways to get this. You can get my free download of 7 tips to rock your freelance business or your solopreneur business. All right. This is a PDF you can download. Use the QR code here on the screen. You can go to my website, juliecortez.com, Cortez with an S, /sign up. Or my handy assistant, Katie, has a sign-up sheet in the back. You can put your email on that, and I will send it to you. But I'd love to give that to you today so you can take away some of these tips, some additional motivation to help you in your solopreneur dreams. All right. So at the end of the day, the things that I want you to remember are to be bold. In your branding and in your promotions, you've got to put yourself out there. Remember, people aren't going to know who you are or what you offer if you are not continually in front of their face, okay? If you're not comfortable doing that, again, outsource it to somebody who is. This part is so, so integral in doing this, okay? Number 2, be brave. Be confident in your pricing. Remember that your work has value and you deserve to get paid what you're worth. You will have done your homework, hopefully, with the steps that we've gone through today. So I encourage you to stay strong because you've got this. And last but not least, anybody want to guess what my third slide is? No, Edson? I knew you'd know it. Be badass. Woo, absolutely. Wait, I'm not done. So create that steady stream of income, diversify your income, get that passive income coming in the door. Do what you've got to do so there are no more obstacles in the way. Okay, now you've got the tools for success. Now you can go and rock your solo business. And if you need help along the way, I am happy to help you. Please feel free to reach out. You can reach me at juliecortez.com. Of course, that's Cortez with an S at the end. I do have business cards in back, and I'm on social media at Freelance Rockstar. So now you can clap. Thank you so much. Oh, thanks, Jose. Thank you, thank you. Any other questions? Thoughts? Yeah.
And because you do diversify your streams and have so many things that you do, is there any difficulty in putting it under the same banner? For instance, if I'll just use my example, I paint for churches, but I'm also an illustrator and do business films. So the way that I might promote myself to churches might turn off businesses.
Yeah.
Completely different. So how do you promote these different aspects of what you do under the same umbrella, or because they're different?
They are different. So I ended up rebranding. I was Julie Cortez copywriter, and I rebranded as Julie Cortez Freelance Rockstar because everything that I do has to do with freelancing some way, somehow. For what you do, you could have like one website, and when they get to your website, have 2 different buttons as to where they could go, right? You could do that, or have 2 completely different websites. If you think really that the other stuff might turn off the other target audience, it might be smart to do 2 different ones. But like I knew a photographer, right, who did commercial photography and wedding photography, and that was his shtick. 1 website, 2 buttons, and then they'd go to their respective sub-navigation pages. So yeah, it worked out. Anything else? Everybody inspired to go rock their solopreneur business? Yes, Max. I'd start building it now, quite honestly. The sooner you can get that steady stream of income coming in the door, the better off you'll be. So if you have only 25 hours worth of copywriting work a week, then take that other time that you have available. I know you have a different schedule, but that other time that you have available, put that towards creating passive income streams. Okay? Dedicate some time to do that and set that up. I think that's going to be really smart and help you in the future, for sure. Awesome. Anybody else? Okay, well, thank you so much for coming. I do have brochures and cards in the back if you'd like to learn more information. So. Thank you.